So what got you to the point then? When was it that you said, okay, I'm done being done, for one. I'm done doing this, trying to hurt myself. Now I need to help myself. What was the catalyst for that? Like they say in the 12-step program, what it was like. We've heard all about what it was like, which is rough. What happened?
Well, the point of what happened during that period is there was a guy who had reached out to me, and his name's Eric Dotson. He had reached out to me on social media. And at the time, this is where they had, they just kind of started using Messenger, or I don't remember, man. He messaged me on Messenger saying, hey, I was a huge fan of yours, and I was just wondering, would you mind talking to me if you don't have anything going on? And I'm just kind of sitting there. I'm like, all by myself. All I do is hang out. It's just me all the time, do my binge drinking, no job, no anything. And I'm just like, well, let's see. There's so much that I have going on that, I don't have time. No, I'm like, yeah, man, let's talk. I'm here. We started talking, come to find out, he's struggling with drinking, things like that, and just life in general. We just start talking where I'm kind of there for him. I had at the time, I had a guy who was kind of helping me to refocus on positive things and to start looking at life in a positive aspect. And that was when I was having some really good conversation with Ricky Simmons. He had pointed some of that stuff out to me, and I was utilizing that. So whenever I put a social media post, I always made sure it was something positive. Even if I wasn't feeling the best, I still try and project that positive as you put that out into the world, something that can happen. So from that relationship of helping Eric, I end up going down to Mississippi because things get so bad for me personally that I'm done. My daughter was the one thing that could really kind of keep me here after I'd done some of those dumb decisions of trying to take myself out, that I knew I have to be here. I need to be here for her. But when it got to the point where that no longer was enough for me, I went down to Mississippi. That's where my mom is at. So my mom and dad, they're still married and they're down in Mississippi. So and my oldest sister is down there. So I wanted to go be around my mom because I felt like being around my mom, that's my person that's never given up on me. As always, trying to tell me something positive and trying to keep me upbeat, and always gave me the reminder that this isn't how things end for you. It's just when you're ready, things will change. So I go down there. Crazy thing is that Eric reaches out and he's like, hey, I heard there's this foundation that helps, ex-athletes that are, in need, and it's impacted them in a major way financially, things like that. He's like, that they'll help them. Are you okay with me putting your name in? And I'm so negative at this point, man. I'm just laughing at him, kind of like, yeah, you can put my name in, but they're not going to help me. Or if they try and help me, it's not going to work out. I mean, that's just my outlook. I am just the Eeyore of Eeyore, is just the most negative Nelly you ever met in your life. That's who I am. Okay. I embodied that. And so he gives them the information. They reach out to me pretty much right away where Murtaugh, Jerry Murtaugh, it's his foundation, Nebraska Greats. They reach out. He puts me in contact with the woman who was running everything at the time, Margie Smith. And that's when things turn around for me, is Margie let me know without a doubt she had me, the Greats had me, and that she was holding my way through the whole process of getting the back surgery I needed, all those things. Margie would constantly get an earful for me every day. Margie, but I've screwed my life up. Margie, I'm a felon. Margie, I'm a loser. Margie, I'm this. And I mean, God bless that woman who's like a second mom to me today, because she would always tell me, Willie, you're not. Yeah. She's like, let's look at the facts. You graduated from Lincoln. You're like a 3.5 graduate. You're, like you mentioned before, Brooke Barringer, sensitive team member, means you do a lot in the community. She's like, don't forget those things. Don't discredit those things. So she had to keep chipping away at this, I don't know, outer core shell that I built up of everything. And I finally started letting her in. The surgery happened where I got that disc replaced. And during this time too, while things are going on so much with me personally, where I'm so frustrated, so lost, not knowing what's going on, I'm turning to doctors to get me a pill to fix anything, because, it's like I get into pharmaceutical sales and all of a sudden it's almost like there's a lot of medications that can help people. They're shown to be efficacious and they truly work. But sometimes I think mentally in my mind, there's got to be a pill for everything. I need a pill for this. I need a pill for that. That's where I got, because my anxiety was through the roof. I needed an anxiety pill. So that got me on some Xanax. I couldn't sleep at all. So, I let them know I couldn't sleep. So I get put on some Lunesta, if not Lunesta, whatever the other one is, Ambien. So it's like, and then I'm thinking, well, I couldn't at the time identify how my binge drinking combined with my pain pills had me at times where I'm just very much at a low. And then when I don't have that, man, I'm feeling like, I can do a lot that day. So I'm thinking I'm bipolar. So I get placed on all these medications. And again, on that for like a 10-year time period. So when I'm done and I get the back surgery, start losing all the weight like crazy, I start feeling better, but yet I know something's still wrong. I meet who is basically my wife. Well, she's my wife today, Carrie. I meet her during that time period where she's taking a look at some of these things because she has an understanding about alcoholism addiction and some of that runs in the family. So she knows some of the telltale warning signs. So she's trying to educate me a little bit. And long story short is that the script is gone because the back surgery happened and things are going well. That's when drinking also picks up more because I no longer have the pills to numb it. I need something else to numb the feelings I'm having. But again, mentally, I feel like the medications aren't right. And I knew that for several years throughout the process because I go into Lasting Hope, be there for a spell, then get released from there. They're trying to make adjustments. So there's always been this history of trying to get medications right. I go into that last phase of we basically move because I'm in Mississippi. I meet her. She was online. She's from Minnesota. We decided to come here because God put it in my heart that it was all going to work out because I got my relationship back with God where I stopped trying to put God in a box, stop trying to define him exactly who he is, what he is, that it has to be X, Y, Z. Let all that go. More the broader concept of God is love. And when I see two people that don't even know each other, hug, embrace, have a connection, that's God involved.
Yes, sir.
And that's what works for me. And that's, what fuels me. So I reestablished my connection with God, with Jesus. And so by doing that, I kept having these visions. And the vision came that I was going to go to Creighton. Didn't know how in the heck that was going to happen because, again, got a felony. How am I going to get Creighton for nursing school? But what happens is the last time I have something to drink, it's kind of my we were boyfriend girlfriend at the time, and it was kind of going to be our last hurrah. We're both going to get sober and be done drinking. I just took the hurrah a little extra, like a normal alcoholic addict does.
Hurrah, hurrah!
Right, the hurrah, hurrah. I'm gonna hurrah the hurrah of the hurrah.
Got to reach the mountain.
Got to reach the
climb
mountain of
the
this
mountain.
hurrah, right? And make sure that I just even find another mountain on top of the mountain. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So like I said, so it starts, of course, start with the regular little 12 case thing of like middle of high life. I go in the middle of that and go get like a 30 at the end to chase it all down, as they say on Hot Tub Time Machine, on the top of Chimney Rock or whatever, is a bottle of. I love that movie. I love that movie, right? I love that movie. Okay, I just watched it tonight. So it's a thing of like Crown Apple. It's a Crown Apple, big old thing, and I'm just pounding that, and I'm telling myself as I'm drinking it. Finally, I'm realizing you are drinking this Crown Apple, this Crown Royal, just like you are a beer where you're slamming it. You can't do that. You got to stop. And it's like my hand was saying, and my mouth was saying, "Oh, really? Stop us!" And they just kept doing it. As my brain saying, "You got to stop." Next thing I know is I wake up in the hospital and I'm intubated, and the lady's trying to tell me, she's all surprised that I'm in, that I'm coming to, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna need you to cough with me." And so she yanks this thing out. I cough, they suction stuff out. Man, my hands were actually tied to the bed or whatever, and so I'm just freaking the hell out. I wake up just terrified to bring that out. My throat's killing me, and basically I could have OD'd on between the drinking alcohol and then, of course, what I do. And this time I didn't really have anything that I was trying to, I don't know, get myself, to cash out that I remember, but there was still some stuff going. So I took, I think a half a bottle of Xanax that I had. And so the wife pretty much let me know that what she found, she came, I'm having a great time drinking, but then I got emotional, right? I got to this point where my drinking turned emotional, and I'm crying or whatever, right? That's just the lane I came into. Like I said, your drinking kind of goes from a spurt of having fun. It helps to stimulate you. It helps to get you out there to it, like starts to do something weird to you. It changes you. You really start to be different, and you're really emotional and caught up in all that crap. So that's where I was at, did the pills, and she came around the corner, said I was just foaming blue stuff out of my mouth. So she had to call the ambulance. They pretty much showed up, and I was barely responsive. So from that is when I wake up and I'm like, holy shit, I need help. Like I need help. I can't do this on my own. And I really do have a problem. Because up to that point, I thought I was okay. I thought, because again, I had my pain pills, or I could play around with anything else here and there or whatever. And because alcohol wasn't it. because alcohol is alcohol. It's legal everywhere. So it just didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me. So,
You're
and
fine.
knowing that I need to go get help, Bob Newton happened to be a contact of mine from on Facebook. And at this time, I was placed on disability back in like 2010 because, you know, I was deemed as bipolar. I'm on a ton of medications. I'm 400 pounds. I can't barely walk past 15 yards. So I'm on disability. I get my income. I get my check every month. And no one would take that to go to treatment. You know, no one would take Medicare or whatever. And the places that took it or whatever were filled.
Right.
So I'm making all these calls, trying to figure it out, reach out to Bob Newton. Bob has a contact that is with a place called Recovery Ways, where Pat Gleason, he has some kind of tie-in with them through Union Pacific. And long story short, has got me scholarshiped in. So the day I get released from the hospital, I fly down to Salt Lake City, Utah to go to Recovery Ways and start the process of recovery. And that was where the change around happened because 1, I knew I had an issue. 2, I knew I couldn't do it by myself. 3, I also recognized I didn't know who the hell I was. 4, I knew I had a dream of being this nurse, but it had no clue on how I was going to be able to make that possible. And so being there, they let me know that I was right about the meds. Like, we're taking you off all these medications. You're not bipolar. And there's other things that you're taking for your anxiety and your sleep. We're taking that away because at the end of the day, we believe that by you learning to process life and to deal with, you know, as I say in recovery, life on life's terms,
Yes,
that you won't need that. And I tell them, I said, well, hey, I'm going to be stuck here, right, for a while, like a couple of weeks or whatever, maybe a month. They're like, yep. I said, well, great. As long as I know that I've got you to watch out for me, if some shit goes really bad without any sleep or me freaking out, then I'm willing to do this because I will do whatever it takes to get better and to be sober. And that's how the whole turnaround started right then and there.
So it's cold turkey. Just cold turkey. Just boom.
Well, as far as with the alcohol and whatnot, yes. Now, I had to cold turkey the pain pills before I left Mississippi. You know, that was a process that I did on my own where I just stocked up on the Gatorade, did it like crazy. Wouldn't recommend anybody do it. It's not clinically safe to do. Went through the crapping and the throwing up and the shakes and everything for like a week, 2 weeks. So did cold turkey it. I didn't want to do any of the Suboxones or, methadone or any of that because I'm like, you know me. I'm like, okay, I got to trade something for something. You know, that's just how I've always operated. So I need to be done with this one. Let's not replace it. So did it that way. And then, yes, that treatment, boom, cold turkey, done with all the pills, everything else. And that's how it started.
So now it's just Mountain Dew.
So now it's just Mountain Dew. It's like, yep, Mountain Dew is my deal.